Drinkers of Reddit, what is the best drinking game? One fun game I play at the bar is called Arrogance. Things you need for this game is beer, an empty pitcher, and a deck of cards. Basically you wager an amount of beer into an empty pitcher and then you pick red or black. If you're right, the beer stays and the person next to you goes. If you're wrong, you have to drink what's in the pitcher. You also don't stop going until you get the color right. My friends and I do this to be drunk in an efficient amount of time. I once got caught at the end of 4 straight correct picks. It was a weird night to say the least. My friends and I play this but we call it Bet Your Liver. Vodka roulette. It's not a shot of vodka hidden with waters. It's Everclear among vodka. Fear the condensation, my friends. Wizard Sticks only works with canned beer. When you finish your current beer you tape your new can on top of your old can with duct tape to form your staff. Whoever has the longest staff is in charge and all others must obey. Drinking Super Smash Bros. 4 level 9i chosen at random fight each other. Before the match you pick who you are riding on. Every time your fighter dies you drink. If he dies when no one touched him you drink twice. Nothing is more fun than a bunch of drunks yelling at 1s and 0s to get the frick away from the edge of the map. Why the frick are you just standing there? Luigi, I swear to god if you fail to jump over that super small hole in that Mario 1 scrolling stage one more TI. Fuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuuu 2v23 stock taking a shot after you are code before you are allowed to touch the controller. A game think like Mario Kart. If your team loses the round, 2 extra shots. Here's a game you can play, either solo or with friends at a bar or restaurant. I never bothered to name it, but it's what I used to do when I didn't like the bar I'm at and was on a bender. It's best played when you are in a bar you hate, but is busy for some reason. From the position you are in the bar, locate the bathrooms. When you need to go to the bathroom, you must walk, not run, to the bathroom. Every time a person crosses your path before you reach the bathroom, you must turn around and head back to your seat. Sit down, take a drink, and try again. If you finish your drink while doing this, order another drink and head to the bathroom without stopping. You have lost. If you successfully make it to the bathroom without finishing your drink, order 2 more drinks. Congrats, you made it to round 2. Now you have 2 drinks to power through if you can't make it to the bathroom. Failure conditions: getting so drunk you forget where the bathroom is, or pee yourself. Had a round last year go to the 6th inning. I nearly blacked out and my buddy had to run and pee outside the back of the bar. Isn't hanging out with friends a blast? Also note, most servers won't give you more than a couple drinks at a time. So in the late game you may have to wait and reorder a drink before continuing to try to reach the bathroom. Goon of Fortune. Clip a bag of goon on the clothesline and get everyone to stand around it. Spin it round, and whoever it lands on has to drink. Found the Aussie. The Matrix drinking game. Step 1. Put on the Matrix. Step 2. Drink every time Keanu Reeves looks confused. Step 3. Die. Similar to the Daft Punk drinking game. Step 1. Put on Around the World by Daft Punk. Step 2. Drink every time the words around the world are said. Step 3. Die quickly. Edward 40 hands. Duct tape 2 40-ounce bottles of your rot gut of choice. I recommend Colt .45, as it works every time, to your hands with the aid of a friend, and order your friend not to remove one until you empty it. The malt liquor is pretty depressing, but with several people the game is quite amusing, particularly when you need to do something like pee. I haven't had the pleasure of playing this yet, but yes, I heard the pee is very funny because you hear the 240s clanging against each other in between curses. This game is called What's My Problem? One person has to leave the room and the remaining people agree on what their most significant personal issue is. The person returns to the room and has to guess that their problem is drinking after each wrong answer. I work too much. Drink. I haven't gotten over my ex. Drink. I still depend on my parents. Drink. Continue until blackout drunk or perfect self-awareness. Suits. One person names a suit. For example, let's say they call hearts. The dealer deals out 1 card to each person until the heart is dealt. Then the person who received the heart drinks for the amount of seconds on the card. Jack is 11, Queen is 12, king is 13, ace is 14. The other people in the circle count up to that number one at a time. They can take as long as they want counting if they want to be buttholes. When the person is done drinking, she must call the next suit before putting their drink down on the table. If they put their drink down before calling a suit, they repeat drinking for the number of seconds on their card. If someone else messes up the count, the amount of seconds on the card is transferred to that person. Basically, if you want to get really fricked up in a short amount of time, this is the game for you. Edit. Forgot the part where if you finish your drink before the end of the count, you can slam your empty can on the table and the person who would have been next to count then has to drink for that amount. Played 3 times. Got blackout drunk 3 times. 10/10. Would recommend. Thunderstruck. Get in a circle and play the song Thunderstruck. On the first thunder a person starts chugging. On the next thunder the person next to them starts chugging and so on. Works great with a lot of people since you just add more people drinking at once. Don't get caught on the solo or you're gonna end up chugging your whole beer. This one's perfect for getting a party started. Basically everyone finishes their beer by the time the song is over and one lucky soul who got the solo will have finished 2 beers. Really loosens everyone up. Plus who doesn't get amped listening to AC/DC? Rage Cage or Slap Cup. Perfect mix of a need for fast-paced reflexes and humiliation sprinkled with the need to understand the physics of bouncing a ping pong on a wet surface. Extremely fun crap. Yeah, and if you have crappy hand-eye coordination you get fricked up on the quicks. Ring of Fire is definitely the greatest drinking game I have ever played. So many different rules per social group. I've had the most ridiculous nights starting with that game. Get on the bus, everyone in a circle passing around a 3-liter bottle of whatever. Everyone chants get on the bus. Chug chug over and over and over really freaking loud. You drink from the bottle on the chug chug. You pass the bottle rhythmically to the left on the get on the bus. If you interrupt the rhythm or can't drink you're out. You get off the bus then drink what's left of the bottle. Then the whole thing starts again until there is one man standing. It's depraved and rambunctious but freaking hilarious. Shotopoli. It's Monopoly, but whenever you land on someone's property, they pour a half shot of their choosing. Never finished a game. Never finished a full game of Monopoly sober either. Watch Legends of the Hidden Temple and take a drink every time Kirk Fogg touches one of the kids. It's more dangerous than any GOP debate drinking game. Whoa, you have just introduced me to the greatest drinking game ever. I have no idea if this is played anywhere other than where I live, but Bottlefish. You start counting from 1. Instead of every number that can be divided by or contains a 5 you have to say bottle. For every number that can be divided or contains a 7 you have to say fish. The game ends if your group gets to 35 aka Bottlefish without any mistakes. At every mistake the game restarts at the person who fricked up. Oh yeah, and every time it comes to bottle or fish the direction of counting changes. If the round goes clockwise and I say bottle or fish it goes counterclockwise from now on until the next one says one of the 2 words. I get pretty wasted every freaking time we play. I think I've played something like this but it was called something completely different. Don't Get Me Started is one of my favorites. Basically, I give you a topic. You have to get all riled about it as a major problem that affects you. It's hilarious to ask people to get mad and make a cohesive argument against the 13th Amendment or the dissolution of the Soviet Union. For every minute you go on, you get to hand out a drink. If you lose momentum, we move on. If you try to shift the topic, that is, why you love Hitler can't be because he's dead and can't hurt anyone, you take all the drinks from the next person to go. That sounds like so much fun. Stump. Get a stump. Should be obvious. A box of 16 penny nails and a hammer. Start 1 nail onto the stump for each person there. The goal is to have the last nail not pounded in. When it's your turn, you drink then flip the hammer forward. The hard way to flip a hammer. Backward is the easy way. Then in one smooth-ish motion try to hit someone else's nail in. Then it's the next person's turn. Once a nail is pounded in, that person is out. Basically just drink the whole time. Up here in Wisconsin we call that hammer sklorgen. I find it works better if you hit your nail in first though. Then you remain in the game and are allowed to go for other people's nails. The order the nails are hit in determines the order for the waterfall chug. In college we played two continuous games that you couldn't really get out of if you were in our group of friends. Drink. Okay. If someone says to you, drink, you have to respond, okay, then take a drink. Failure to respond with the word okay or failure to drink means you take 2 drinks. The only prerequisite being that you can't tell someone to drink if they don't already have a drink. Eventually this game evolved to be used to tell someone they were making a fool of themselves or to tell someone to shut the frick up. For example, if you say something stupid or outrageous when we're talking to a group of hotties, someone will look at you and say drink. Buffalo. If someone catches you drinking with your dominant hand and they call buffalo, you have to finish your drink. I love buffalo as a lefty. Get so many people. Warning. The following drinking game is for tough moffers only. Your weaker friends will cry and complain and ruin the fun. I don't really know what it's called. My friends called it Bernie Cup, but I googled it and couldn't find anything. Basically you pour a beer into a glass. Then you rubber band a paper towel over the top of the glass. Then you put a penny on top of the paper towel. Now everyone takes turns lighting the paper towel on fire, and then blow out the flames. When you make fire you must either make a new hole in the paper towel, or B, add onto an existing hole. The lighter moves around the circle until the penny falls into the beer. The person who made the penny fall drinks the beer. The beer at this point has tons of nasty ashes in it, tastes like crap, and is warm. This is an extremely high stakes drinking game. You do not want to drink this beer. This game will get your heart pumping, and will make you sweat. But I promise, when played with the right people, this game is incredibly fun and incredibly competitive. Oh frick, haha. I love some drinking games, but you need Jesus with this one. I'm bringing this up this weekend. Yes, it's called Life, and it's the one where you slog through each day at a job you hate to pay for a life you never wanted, then go home and drink until you can forget that you had dreams. I love this one, but my wife doesn't. She keeps going on about you're ruining our family and I don't even know who you are anymore. Slap Cup is the greatest drinking game of all time. Getting trashed and slapping the crap out of solo cups while saying, frick you be. Slap Cup is fun, but if you stack it instead of slapping it, it makes the game hard as crap cause you have one person bouncing into a normal cup and one person's bouncing into a stack a foot tall. Frick drinking games. Just played Durak. It's a Russian card game, and as far as I know, Durak means idiot in Russian because if you lose, you're just too much of an idiot to cheat. Basically, everybody gets a hand of 6 cards or so, thanks you Natalia, and then one player is attacking the one left of him. He throws down a card. You need to block with a higher value. One color trumps everything. You can only attack with cards that are already on the table except for the first attack. So, if I attack with a 7 and it gets blocked with an 8, I can attack with a new 7 or 8. The fun thing is that the dude left of the defender can also attack, so it gets quite hectic. And that's where cheating comes into play. Because it's so hectic at times, most people won't notice if you just throw in a card. You win if you have an empty hand. Hands get filled up from the stack after each round. It's so fun when drunk because you can't keep track of what everybody does after the first bottle of vodka is empty. And then, at the end of the round, you didn't come in last and you're very proud of yourself, and then half the people throw big stacks of cards in the middle that they managed to hide. We played that on a class trip, Germany. Drinking age for beer and wine is 16 and 18 for everything else. And the best thing was the Russian shouting when they realized that they got fricked in their own game. I highly suggest playing with more than one deck. That sounds pretty fun. P. It doesn't have a name, but I play it often. Basically, you just drink till the pain stops, then you cry yourself to sleep. Ah, Tuesday. What a game. It's called Moose. You get an empty ice cube tray and bounce quarters over it into a low ball filled with a punishment shot. If the quarter goes in the cup, you have to throw your hands up like antlers and scream moose. The last one to do so drinks the punishment shot. If the quarter simply bounces off the edge but doesn't go in, and someone cries moose, they drink the punishment shot. If your name is Steve and the group likes picking on you, we make you drink the punishment shot. For additional fun, if the quarter goes in the ice cube tray, you take shots depending on which side. The number of shots corresponds to the position in the tray, so you could be giving out or taking 1-8 shots. This game is so notorious in my circle of friends that we had to rename it to Circle of Fuzzy Bunnies to trick people into playing it. Nobody will play anymore because it's so hardcore. I like the game where you put the cards in the be a snappy thing, and when it pops the loser had to drink it and whatever else is in front of them. Disclaimer. Drunk. We'll edit later. Nap first. Your disclaimer makes your post way more valid than anyone else's. Back to back. Two people stand in the center of the circle back to back. People around the circle yell out statements, and whomever feels like they'd be more likely to identify with that statement drinks. If both people in the center drink, they drink again. If neither drinks, everyone in the circle drinks. It ends up being hilariously embarrassing. Antiques Roadshow drinking game. Bid on each item. Whoever is closest to the median price makes everyone else drink a sip of their drink. If you guess the exact price, everyone else has to finish their beer. Keep score. Losers all have to shotgun beers. Drink every time there's a wooden pointer. Drink every time there's a lazy Susan. Drink every time you see Markel Wahlberg. Possum. Everyone climbs a tree with a 6-pack and can't come down until you finish. The game is how high do you climb so nobody accidentally pees on a owl. Presidents and Buttholes. Card game where your goal is to get rid of your cards first. You can Google the rules, but in a nutshell, first one to finish is the president, followed by the VP, etc, with the last person being the butthole. Until the end of the next round you can order around anyone lower rank than you as long as it doesn't interfere with the game, with the exception of the president exchanging his worst card for the butthole's best card at the beginning of the next round. Drink along with Pulp Fiction. Every time someone swears, including racial slurs, drink. You'll be fricked by the time it comes to the Vince and Mia Wallace segment. We used to do this with Battle Royale. Drink every time someone dies. We also did this with the Big Lebowski. Drink every time you hear dude, man, and chug every time Walter loses it. There's a Pokemon drinking game floating around here somewhere. Around a minimum of 7 beers to finish. Tons of fun with friends. We used to play a little known game from the New England area called Die. It can be played as 2-person teams, or one-on-one. Think beer pong, except instead of tossing a ping pong ball you throw a single die. Each player is seated at a corner of the table with a cup in front of them filled to the 12-ounce mark on the cup. There are 2 goals, to score points and to make the other team drink. 1. To score points you must throw the die above a string that is hanging 12 inches down from the ceiling and hit the table. The other team must catch the die before it bounces off. The die must bounce off the end of the table, not the sides, in order to get points. You play up to 5 and must win by 2, or first to 7. 2. To make the other team drink you must make it in one of their cups, which results in drinking the rest of their beer. You can't hit one of their cups to make them take a single drink. Or, you can knock over one of their cups, which makes them finish the cup with beer in it and pour another beer and finish that, as well. Also, if you make it in a cup, they must roll the die out when finished, and if it rolls a 5 they must refill. Put the die back in and repeat until a 5 is not rolled out. These are the main rules. There are others, but those typically change from house to house. Best drinking game that no one has heard of. Shark Week drinking game. Every time an expert comes on, drink. Every time a dramatization or reenactment comes on, drink. Every time a shark breaches the water, you must drink for the entire breach. With slow-mo this often means chugging a full beer as jaw slowly flies through the air. Some drunk times come from Shark Week. Enjoy. Low card. Take a deck of cards and whoever draws the lowest card takes a shot, or drink of whatever you have. Super fast and easy. Also made up rules where we took the suspects from the game clue and assigned them to different types of liquor. Cole Mustard is Knob Creek, Miss Peach's Schnapps, etc. The low card loser draws a card from that deck which is associated with a different type of shot, and has to take that specific drink. I have no idea what the actual name of this game is, but when I've been traveling and drinking with my or friends or family, we always get into this game. We just call it hierarchy. Get a deck of cards. From that deck, take out 1 king, 1 joker, and 8 number cards. The king is the king card. The joker is the slave card and the number cards are the citizen cards. The game is designed to test your predictive abilities of the other person. Each card interacts with each other in a different way. King beats citizen. Citizen beats slave. Slave beats king. One of you will play the role as king, and the other will play the slave. You take your 4 citizens and king slave card, shuffle them however you want. Each of you then places the cards face down on the table in a line parallel each other. You then take turns flipping them one at a time. This is where the chance comes in. If you're playing king, you're relatively safe because you have greater odds of winning overall. King, citizen, citizen, slave, so 4/5 cards beat the slave 1/5 trump. If you win, you make the person playing slave take a shot. If the slave wins however, the king takes 5 shots. Play as the slave and try to outsmart your opponent. It gets significantly easier after the first couple of wins. I made this up after watching an anime that was pretty much identical to this, but with money. Cannot remember the name of that anime now though. While watching at a football, soccer game can be adapted to another sport. Rule: everyone picks a player at the beginning of the game. Every time your player is touching the ball, you drink a sip. Every time your player's name is pronounced by the commentator, you drink a sip. Every time your player's is zoomed in on, you drink a sip. Every time your player is scoring a goal, you drink the whole glass. Every time your player saves a goal, you drink the whole glass. Try this during a World Cup, because it's fun being drunk during every game. RIP if you pick Messi or Ronaldo. Couple of games that I play, they all work best with 6-8 players. Spread a deck of cards face down and have everyone pick a card and flip it over. The people holding the suit with the least amount drinks. In case of a tie you both groups drink. Remove the cards that were picked and go again. Shuffle a deck of cards and flip 1 card over. Going around in a circle the players decide if the next card will be higher or lower. Drink when you are incorrect. Ties count as a loss, or if you want a variation players can call tie and pick someone to drink. From a deck of cards pull out the ace of hearts, 2 jacks, 4 queens, and a king. Shuffle the cards and everyone picks a card. The person who picked the king reveals their card and picks another player. If that player is holding a jack, that player drinks. If the player is holding a queen, they become the king and selects a player that still has a card. If the player is holding the ace, whoever picked that player has to drink. Round ends when the ace or both of the jacks are exposed. If you have more than 8 players at the 10s, and the rule is if a 10 is selected then the chooser and the selected player plays a simple game. High card, rock paper scissors, etc. And the losing player drinks and becomes the new king. These 3 games have provided me and my friends with many hours of fun. Not sure if it was the games or the alcohol, but it was fun. Not sure what it's called, but it's something like horse race I think. You get a deck of cards without the jokers and place the aces of each shape next to each other. Then you choose how many flips of the aces to reach the end, which is usually like 5-8. Everyone chooses a shape and how many fingers they are betting. Let's say I say 3 fingers on the ace of spades. You use the rest of the deck and start revealing cards. If it's a spade, flip the spade ace and so on until whichever card reaches said number of flips first. Last, whoever bet on the right shape gets to use the number of fingers bet to make people drink that much of their drink. Let's say you have 4 fingers bet. You then either place it all on one person or spread it around. Also, one can get screwed by getting like 3 fingers off 2 people or more. Gets you fricked up. Really fun though. The Wizard Staff Game. Items required. Each player gets their own case of beer, must be cans. Duct tape. Nowhere to go early in the morning. Everyone cracks their first beer at the same time, and when you finish it, you hold on to it. You are now a level 1 wizard. When you finish your second beer, you duct tape the top of your first empty to the bottom of your new empty and are now level 2. By repeating this process shortly over time, your staff will continue to get taller. Starting at level 3, you need to defeat a boss to advance. This boss fight is a shot, and from here on out, you must beat a boss every 2 levels. So at levels 5, 7, And 9. You must defeat another boss. If you are the first to gain level 10, you are Grand Wizard and you get to make a house rule, similar to getting a king card in Kings. When a second player reaches level 10, they must duel the Grand Wizard for his/her title. You use your staff to either 1. Cast spells and the party decides the winner, or 2. Sword fight, staff fight, and whoever's staff survives the duel is named Grand Wizard. It is my perfect mix of nerd and drinking at parties. Battleships. Play a regular game of Battleship, except when you miss you drink and when you hit your opponent drinks. Sinking ships means slamming a beer. It doesn't really have a name, but my friends and I used to play a variation on King's Cup without the cards. We would establish a series of rules for the evening, and then just have a conversation. A few examples. Little green man. For the rest of the night, you have a little green man sitting on your cup. When you drink, you must move the little green man to your shoulder, then drink, then put the man back. If you forget, you must drink again. This often leads to never-ending cycles of drinking. Freeze. For the rest of the night, if anyone shouts freeze, everyone must freeze in their place. First person to move laugh must drink. Talk like a pirate. Self-explanatory. Noses. At any point in the evening, any person can touch their nose and immediately go silent. At this point, every other person must touch their nose and go completely silent. The last person to touch their nose must drink, etc. The list goes on, but the whole point is to increase social interaction. Talk, laugh, have your normal evening, and call people out all over the place. Makes for a very fun party. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.